I'm so glad you tuned in to Open Heart with Lisa. And I just want you to know what Open Heart with Lisa is and what it is not. Open Heart with Lisa is not a therapy session with a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a marriage counselor. I'm not any of those. But I want to say that I'm a conversationalist. I want to keep a conversation going. I like to engage people. I've been blessed for many years to have great conversations with some wonderful men who have told me and shared some matters of the heart, let's say, with me, their hurt and their pain. And I wanted to bring this into a medium so that a lot of us women can hear and understand the man's heart. I think this is also good for men who can also have a platform where they can hear another gentleman talk about a situation that they're going through. It's all about healing, ladies, and I want to get right into it because we have 30 minutes, and I have Kevin here, and Kevin's a great gentleman. And, Kevin, I'm glad that you're on this interview, and how are you doing?
Glad to be with you, and how are you today?
I'm doing great. We're going to get right into it. As you know, Kevin, and now let me let everyone else know, the conversation for this week, and I want everybody to think about this because I think what happens sometimes is when we meet individuals, Kevin, and we start liking someone, and then all of a sudden things morph into a relationship. And there's never really, for many of us, and you've discussed this too with me, there's never really a conversation of, okay, we're in a relationship, and what do you expect from me, and what do I expect from you? So the conversation, the topic for this week is, do you feel dating should be held to the same standards as marriage? And I think that's a deep one. Do you feel dating should be held to the same standards as marriage? So, Kevin, do you feel that dating should be held to the same standards as marriage?
No, I don't. I don't feel that it should be held simply because the laws of the land support marriage. Let's say, for instance, you are married and you buy a gallon of milk. Well, if you separate, it's divided equally, or however the system, the court works. Whereas you are dating someone, you can buy this person whatever and take it 100% back. So then you have things that, and in the laws of the land that supports marriage in comparison to dating. So,
and let me also interject something. You and I talked about this last week on a pre-interview. I mean, when two people really love one another, and I'm not talking about people who get married for convenience. I'm talking about people who really love one another, and they said, I want to share my life with you. That's a totally different level of commitment than I just want to date you. When I want to go before the altar, I've been married before, so I went before the altar. I went before God and made a covenant with God that I would be the wife of a particular person. There's a certain level of obligation I felt, and a level of obligation that's needed. And this has nothing to do with money. This is all matters of the heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because if you're dating a woman right now, you may not be in love with her. You've been married before. It's a different feeling. When you want to take that person on as your wife, or your husband, you're taking on everything. Their cares, their worries, their concern.
Well, this is one reason why I said a minute ago that I don't think it should be held the same as marriage. Dating should be held the same as marriage because there is a completely different responsibility, obligation, love, or whatever in marriage in comparison to dating someone. I mean, I've been on dates and, physically you're attracted to the person for whatever, and you spend a few hours together and you find out you're the complete opposite. So if you're married, you're beyond that finding the complete opposite because you've gone through so much and build or develop whatever it took to bring you to the altar. Whereas
So
in dating,
let me
you go ahead.
let me get to this because this is I want to get to the money aspect of it. Okay, now this is where it gets a little touchy. There are some women who feel that when you are dating them, if they need financial help, that is your responsibility. There are some women who feel if you are dating them and, every time they want to go someplace, you pick up the tab. I want to know, how do you feel about the money aspect of the relationship? Because you had given me, actually, a couple of examples. Matter of fact, you told me about something recently about this woman that you were going to.
Yes.
I want you to share this about the woman's floor you were going to fix.
One of the things, it's just a two-part answer to the question, to one question. One is that when I meet someone, I'm usually open to accommodate, which means that we start out, I don't mind taking care of A, B, C, D. I have experienced meeting someone, and within a 2-week time frame, we've never gone out, but we just had a phone conversation where she called me and she said, "Well, I have a favor to ask of you." And I said, I didn't say, "What is it?" I said, That means maybe I'm not even listening.
Wait a minute, you said after 2 weeks you were talking to her.
After 2 weeks.
Okay.
And this is maybe the fifth conversation, time we had talked on the phone. She said, "I have a favor for you, if you, to ask of you." She said, "Can you go to Western Union and get the corporate form, it's the blue form, and fill it out and pay my car note of $769. At that moment, I hope the phone company was disconnecting my service, because I definitely didn't want to hear that. It would have been okay for Verizon to disconnect me at that point. $769.
I'm saying this is after 2 weeks, right?
After we had never did nothing together. No lunch, no dinner, no winking and blinking an eye, no hug, no kissing, other than meeting at a Christmas party. And that was pretty much it, other than the conversation on the phone. So, and she was very serious about it. It wasn't like, she just came straight out and asked me for $769 to pay a car note. So, dating is, it's something else, in comparison to being married. If you're married, you know what on the table, and if your spouse asks you for something, or maybe she shouldn't even have to ask, because you know what.
There's a certain level of obligation that you feel. So let me ask you a question. Did you talk to that woman afterwards? Did you pay her car note?
Oh, that was the end of the story. Like you see the end of the movie, the end. Your little music. Because the bottom line, I'm not. I have to make ends meet for myself, especially if I don't know you. And you ask.
Speaking of that, I want to talk to you about that. You said, this is what you just said. You said, "I have to make ends meet for myself." I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel, and I just want everybody to know this, and I don't want the ladies to take things so personally, because he's not talking about you. He's not talking about me.
Yeah, and when I say make
talking
about
myself, his life experience.
Absolutely. And in order for me to do anything for anybody, I have to be able to be in a position to do that, and it start with self, not being selfish.
This is the question that I want to ask you. Have you ever gone on a date, and I'm just curious, and you've taken a woman out, and let's say it's past the date, you're in some kind of relationship. You ever have a woman ever say to you, "Listen, I don't want you to keep spending money on me"?
Never.
Never.
I have never heard of that.
Really?
it it's almost like the dinosaur not exist. No, the dinosaur they're just not on the map. I have never heard. I mean, I have been out on a date, and I don't mind it. It was my treat. I invited her out, and she ordered. And not that I'm paying attention to what she's ordered, but when you get jumbo shrimps and
Yeah.
you eat one and don't eat the rest and don't take home anything. So I said, it's okay if you didn't like it. If you say, well, I really didn't like the way it's prepared, this or that, that's understandable. But when you just eat one and said, I had enough, it's not that, that's an obvious waste.
Mhm.
And, I mean, I'm taking care of everything. So you're not, as far as I'm concerned, you're not showing that you're considerate of what you are being treated to. If you,
Well, not only that, that's what I want to. I just wanted to go back to the question I asked you, and I know you're not a kid. I know you've lived life for many years. So
yeah, but another thing, I don't
wait,
have a tree. I don't have a tree at home that's growing dollars.
That's why I want to ask you this question, because I'm just curious. So you've never had a woman say, don't spend so much money on me. Have you ever had a woman, and I'm just curious, who said to you, when we go out, let me treat? How do you feel about women who would treat you out? Is that okay?
That's fine. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a wonderful thing. It don't have to start out that way. I don't expect a woman to take me out, and I don't mind treating her. Now I've had friends, not someone I was dating, unfortunately, that we were just good friends, and they would take me out, treat me. I would treat them. I said, I got it. And they said, no, I got it. You got it. They would remember. They said, well, you covered it the last time. I mean, I have been out on dates where at 100% of the time, I would take care of whatever it is, they would never say, well, I got the tip. I've had friends that would say, well, hey, I got the tip.
So I want to distinguish between the two. You've never had a girlfriend, but you've had friends, female friends, who said, no, I haven't. But you've never had a girlfriend who said.
Well, I've had a girlfriend that would do that, being that I had to regroup for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But the price of her treating me was a nightmare at the dinner table, because I had to sit and listen to whatever she wanted to talk about. And that was like, not something that maybe I wanted to really hear at the time. Not that I don't want to hear what you have to say, but, negative things, and if your life is spinning around certain problems that you might be having, and someone give you some advice and it doesn't mean anything, you keep saying the same thing over and over and over, okay, then I'd rather not you treat me at all.
Well, let me ask you this, or let me just say this. You said something to me a couple of weeks ago, and we were on a call, and I thought it was really profound, because I just never heard this said, period, by anyone. And we had a conversation where a particular woman had made a comment about, being a strong woman and all that, and that she had money. And you said something. You said, wait, let me just say this, Kevin. You said the difference between the man having the money and the woman having the money, you said, usually when we have money, we share.
We share.
You said a lot of times women who will go around talking about how much money they have, they don't share. And I thought that was really profound, because from my experience, the few people that I know, people I know, they don't share, just like you said. Mm-hmm.
Usually when you find a woman saying, I'm a strong woman, mm-hmm. she's usually talking about, first of all, just to be on the humorous side, the next time a woman say that to me, I'm going to say, well, let's go to the gym, let's see how many pounds you can lift up weight-wise. If
Mhm.
you're a strong woman, you must. She's usually talking about her in being independent of being able to sustain herself. And it's like, I'm a strong woman, and I have this and that. So that's not in the area, in the mode of sharing. Usually, when you hear someone say that, and so that's one reason why I said men usually they would have money and they don't mind giving. Most of the people that I know, let's put it that way, and I don't know everyone on this planet. So those listening out there might say, "Oh, that's not true." Well, maybe you might. They might know someone that might be just the opposite of what I'm saying. But in general, most of the guys that I know, it's always trying to, whether they're trying to be impressive or just kind and giving. It doesn't matter if they're doing it.
Well,
And
Kevin,
they,
let me just interject this little commercial break because I want everybody to know that Open Heart with Lisa is being brought to you by Inventing A to Z. Inventing A-T-O-Z. Inventing A to Z are for those of us who are inventors. I'm an inventor. And sometimes when you invent a product, you don't have a clue. Well, if you go to www.inventingatozz, Lisa Acelise, the CEO of this company, can help you take your invention from start to finish. Not only can she do that, she can place your product in stores. She's also an independent vendor for QVC and Shop NBC. So for any of you inventors who are looking for someone to help you, you have an idea, you don't know what to do, pass the idea. You go on to www.inventingatoz, speak to Lisa Acelise, and she can take your idea from genesis to completion. Now, back to you, Kevin. I want to ask you this question. Well, not a question. You told me about this other example and about someone who needed you. And I want to stick with the money situation because I know for a lot of I know some men. Let me just talk about what I know. I've had some buddies, great guys, who I know financially were struggling. And irregardless of how they were struggling, when they were dating the women that they were dating, they always wanted to make sure she was all right. And one guy told me recently, and I thought this was profound. He said, Lisa, I don't mind helping, but what irritates me the most is knowing I'm being taken for granted. He said, what I don't like is I also know it's not reciprocal. He said, when I sit down and look at how much I have helped this particular woman, and then I look at what she's done for me, it can't even compare because for some reason, because she's sexually intimate, she feels, hey, I'm giving you me.
I'll tell you something that recently happened.
Yeah.
Just recently happened. I was with someone, and I gave her a few dollars to help out. She didn't ask me now. She was in, matter of fact, one of the things she was getting ready to pay her telephone bill. So I just happened to walk in, and I said, gave it to her, right? And also we were in a computer store, which was on at this line, and you have to pay so much for the use of the computer because she had a problem at home. Anyway, long story short, so those two things I did for her, and also with some work that she needed done in her apartment, and she needed some supplies, so I picked up something from Home Depot, but it just so happened it didn't work out simply because she was talking to some stuff that did not make sense, and I was saying, okay, I hear you, and she just wouldn't let it go, whatever. So I said, okay, I have to go. So I get a call. She said, well, that little money you gave me, don't mean nothing as much as I did for you. I made that beautiful tuna fish sandwich for you. And
A tuna fish sandwich.
yep, that's she said. She said the little money you gave me is nothing. I made a tuna fish sandwich for you, and you liked it. And
okay, so let me ask you a question. I'm just curious. The money you gave her, was that more than the tuna? You think it cost more than the tuna?
Okay, let's just put it this way. It was in the tune of $90.
Oh.
She didn't ask me for anything. I mean, the supplies that she needed for her flooring was $50 and other things.
So I want to go back. So wait, because so you're saying to me too, you helped her with the cell phone, but she also needed some work done on the floor.
I was going to do the work.
Saved...
But I purchased the material from Home Depot, which I took it back because most women, and not all, because as we talk on what we're saying in life.
Well, just say from the experience that you've had.
Okay.
Okay. Right, because that's the only thing.
No, I just want to say what I'm saying. I'm leading up to something. When I say what I'm saying, it's just from the experience. A woman's heart does not really feel for a man's heart in many cases. Not for everyone, but they're not feeling the man's heart. They're feeling what they feel, but he has a heart and it's very painful.
I want to go back because I think that's profound. You said a woman, from your experience with the women
not
that
just
you've met.
From my personal experience, just from seeing other people that I know and living on this, in society, seeing and understanding what's going on.
So you're saying that a woman's heart doesn't feel for the man's heart?
In most cases.
In the situation that you know. Okay.
Yeah, and I can't speak for every woman because I'm not saying everything negative, about every person, but in general, the makeup is built around the woman, and usually if she's not a considerate person, she does not understand the pain of a man's heart, what he's feeling, because he's, and so many.
And let me ask you a question, since you're talking about the heart, and I want us to stay on track with stuff because I don't want us to bounce all over the place. But the finances, to me, a lot of times is connected to his heart because
it is.
And why do you think sometimes, from your experience, that certain women you've associated yourself with didn't care about your heart, didn't care about your finances? Like the last lady that you were talking about, when you're talking about, she said to you, and she made you a beautiful tuna fish sandwich after you put money out. Well, she didn't know if it was your last.
I called. I said, listen, I could go and buy a tuna fish sandwich for $4 or $5. So why do I need to give you?
But the question, though, I want to know. Why do you feel she just did not care? That's what I want to know. Because I'm saying to you, if you gave her about $90, it could have been your last $90. And just to say that you made somebody a tuna fish sandwich, as if you can really even compare. And then if you're going to fix her floor.
Well, Lisa, this is the point that needs to be understood is that when people don't care, it's one thing, but there is a level of a movement of this type of mindset in a lot of women today, and they're expecting to meet someone and have the world given to them on a gold platter, not a silver platter, catered to, and never make. I mean, I do know of women. I have friends that their lady would never make a meal for them.
Really?
Never cook, never wash. Like our ancestors, they worked. They used the board, the stick to beat the clothes clean.
But why do you?
Well, the women today, all they need to do is go to a wash machine, and society's, this is not you. Back then, you would hear music with women, doing this and that. where today's society, women's rights movement, and all this crazy
Well,
stuff.
let me ask you a question, though, because I want us to stick with the topic.
Okay.
Do you feel that the reason why some women won't do those types of things because they say, hey, he's not my husband? Because, that's why I said the question is.
Okay, then there are women that are married that don't do these, that don't
You know women who are married who don't do that?
Oh, a truckload of them.
Really? Are you serious?
I kid you not. I kid you not. I have a few friends, and unfortunately, I just say, it couldn't be me. I'm going home, man. I just have to stop, get some Chinese food or something like that. I said, well, you know, nah, she.
So you said, so they go, but you
they
know
have to
what?
make a stop.
One thing I do know too is they make a stop, but you never know why people stop doing certain things. Like, do you know the whole history? Did they marry somebody?
First of all, if a woman can't cook, she never started doing certain things.
I've known somebody who stopped doing certain things. To be quite honest.
Yeah, that exists. But there are people that I personally know very well that have never gotten a meal. Just for someone to make you a cold cut, that's not a meal.
All right, so let us get back on track with the topic because we're getting ready to close, and I want to ask you this: if you are dating a woman, let's say for 2 or 3 years, and she needed
for how long? I'm sorry.
2 or 3 years. Let's say you're dating her for 2 or 3 years, and she needed financial assistance. Are you saying you don't mind helping if you're in position?
No, I don't. I would. It would be a pleasure to help her. If she is trying to do something for herself, if she needs. That's not even a second.
So this is where I think things get murky, right? And I think that sometimes there's levels of confusion because when you're married, a lot of times, your husband will do certain financial things for you. And when you're dating, a man will do certain financial things for you.
Well, Lisa, when you're married, it's like, I guess it comes under some type of responsibility or obligation or whatever. But it's pretty much, you take away the legal, the license, the marriage license, the legal status. If you really care for someone, it's pretty much the same thing. If you really care for that person. If I was dating someone and I really cared for them and they needed something and I could do it, I would just do it, because I would have been through enough with them to know that they care for me enough. If I needed something, they would do this. I must say, I know you like to say we get ready to close. In any relationship, knowing each other is a process of understanding, giving, and receiving. And without that in line, you never know the heart of that person because, if you're just giving, you're giving, and, you never know. It could be unfortunate. A person could be ill, and this person not even, I've known, this was recently also, someone was ill in the hospital, and the woman never came to see the person.
Well, you know what? I hate to say it, but we got to close. And I really wanted to get into a couple other things with you, but time will not allow. Kevin, listen, I want to thank you. And I think the bottom line is, and something that you said, and you didn't say it today, but you said the main thing is you just want to know that you're being appreciated and respected for what you've done. And I think that sometimes men don't mind helping, but you don't want to feel that the person feels that you are obligated to do anything if you're not married.
Appreciation makes everything wonderful. I mean,
on that, we're going to close.
Okay.
Appreciation makes everything wonderful, and you're absolutely right. I want to thank everyone for listening to Open Heart with Lisa, where his heart matters. Go to my blog, www.openheartwithlisa.com. Leave some comments, and next week we're talking about this, but we're talking about it from a sexual perspective. Do you feel, this is next week, dating should be held to the same standards of marriage? And then we're going to talk about the sexual aspect. Thank everybody for listening, and God bless you.